Today, we are cracking the code on a technology that is completely changing the game for AI. We're talking about how AI can finally break free from its static digital library and learn in real time about the world as it's happening. But to really get how it works, we have to start with a problem that I'm sure you've run into yourself.
You've been there, right? You ask your favorite AI chatbot about something that just happened, a big sports game, a breaking news story, and you get nothing. It's a seriously frustrating blind spot for a tool that feels so incredibly powerful. Well, it turns out there's a really specific reason for that, and it gets right to the heart of how these things actually think.
So, to understand that blind spot, we need to pop the hood and take a look at how these incredible tools, these large language models, or LLMs, actually function. It's less like a super brain and a whole lot more like a super predictor.
When you strip away all the hype, this is fundamentally what an LLM is doing. You give it a sentence starter, like, the cat sat on the, and its entire existence is dedicated to calculating the most probable next word. Is it mat? Is it floor? Is it chair? It predicts that word, then the next one, and the one after that.
It's actually a lot like how our brains work when we're talking. You're constantly subconsciously predicting the next word you need to form a coherent thought. An LLM is just doing that same thing, but on a scale that is almost impossible to imagine. And it gets so ridiculously good at this prediction game that it strings these words into what feels like real, intelligent conversation.
But, and this is a huge but, this whole next word prediction system eventually smacks right into a massive wall. See, it can only predict words based on the information it was trained on, and that leads us directly to its single biggest weakness.
Here it is. This is the heart of the problem. Imagine an AI that's been fed a giant library of information, basically a huge chunk of the internet. But that library was locked and sealed at the end of 2023. Its entire universe is permanently frozen in the past. So when you ask it about that 2024 sports match, as far as the AI is concerned, it hasn't happened yet. It literally has no concept of it.
Okay, so you might be thinking, well, why don't I just give it the new info when I ask my question? Great idea, but that runs headfirst into the second major limitation, something called the context window. The easiest way to think about this is as the AI's short-term memory. It's the maximum amount of text, your prompt, and its own answer that it can hold in its head at any one time.
For a really advanced model like a GPT-4, that memory limit is about 128,000 tokens. And a token is, roughly speaking, a word. That sounds enormous, doesn't it?
But here's the reality check. 128,000 tokens shakes out to be about a 400-page book. Now, that's impressive for sure, but think about it. If a big company wants its AI to understand its entire internal knowledge base, or a law firm needs it to reference thousands of legal documents, well, a 400-page memory just isn't going to cut it. That context window gets filled up really, really fast.
So we're stuck, right? We've got two huge problems. The knowledge is out of date, and the short-term memory is too small. And retraining these gigantic models from scratch every day would be insanely expensive and time-consuming. So, what's the fix? Well, it's an incredibly elegant and powerful technique called RAG.
RAG stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation. And believe me, it is an absolute game changer. The core idea is simple. Instead of trying to cram all the world's new information into the model, RAG works smarter. It finds, or retrieves, the exact, most relevant piece of info needed to answer your question, and it hands it to the model at the exact moment it's needed.
Let me give you a perfect analogy. If you ask an AI, how many kitchens are in my house, it has no choice but to guess. It has no idea. But what if, right before you ask, you hand it the floor plan to your house? Now it's not guessing anymore, is it? It's simply reading the document and giving you a factual answer. That simple act of providing the right context at the right time, that, in a nutshell, is RAG.
So, that sounds great in theory, but how does this magic trick actually work? Well, it's a surprisingly straightforward four-step process that basically turns a standard LLM into a hyper-efficient research assistant.
Okay, here's how it goes. First, you ask your question. That's the query. Instantly, a separate system searches an external knowledge base, like a database or a collection of recent articles, and retrieves the most relevant documents. Now here's the brilliant part. It augments your original question by bundling it together with that new information it just found. Then, and only then, is this new supercharged prompt sent to the LLM to generate an answer. It now has all the fresh context it needs to give you a great response.
And look, this isn't some futuristic, abstract technology we're talking about.
I can almost guarantee you are using RAG-powered systems every single day, and you probably don't even realize it. It's here, it's now, and it's making AI so much more useful.
So why is this such a big deal? Well, RAG basically solves all the core problems we just talked about. It means we don't have to do those crazy expensive retraining sessions. It lets any AI tap into specialized, up-to-the-minute knowledge. It makes the answers you get way more accurate. And maybe the best part of all, it can actually cite its sources, which makes the AI's reasoning transparent for the very first time.
And you can see this technology everywhere. When Google's AI search gives you a neat summary of today's news, that's RAG in action, retrieving current info from the live web. When a tool like Harvey.ai helps a lawyer by instantly finding the perfect legal precedent from millions of cases, that's RAG searching a specialized database. Even those personalized marketing emails that magically pull in your company's logo and messaging, yep, that's RAG too. So really, RAG is the critical bridge that connects the static, encyclopedic knowledge of an LLM to our dynamic, ever-changing real world. It makes AI not just smarter, but more grounded, more current, and more trustworthy. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to ponder. Now that AI can effectively access and use fresh information in real time, what's the next great barrier for it to overcome?